Hello, students, and thank you for selecting this next Career Day interview. I am fortunate enough to be interviewing what will likely be a familiar name and a familiar face to some of you, Ms. Sue Konas, who is a teacher here at our Greenville Scott M. Ellis Elementary School. So, Ms. Konas, if you could please let us know what it is that you do and what steps you had to take to get to where you are now in your career.
My goodness, I've been teaching for so long. Let's see, I teach currently 4th grade in Scott M. Ellis Elementary, and I've taught 3-4, I've taught challenge, taught 2nd grade when I first started, and what I had to do was I had to have good grades to get into school. I went to a 4-year university, and then I had to pursue my master's degree to get to where I am today to be able to teach in New York. So
thank you. You know, some of the kids who select this video might be interested in teaching, and while they have teachers around them all the time, if you could kind of give your perspective, what's a typical day look like in your field?
Well, that's what's fun about teaching, is that there is never a typical day. Basically, I'm always thinking about teaching and like how I can present things. If I'm in the store and I see something, I'm always like, oh, how could I use that? And for my vacation, I'm like, oh, that would be great. Let's go to Williamsburg because we're doing the American Revolution. So I want to get some stuff for my classroom for there. So like you're never really off. It's never like a typical day. But it starts really early. The work day starts really early in Greenville. Now, some elementary schools start a little bit later, I think like 9 o'clock. But I'm up pretty early to get here because I do my best thinking in the morning. So I'm here really early. And I try to leave by 4, and I bring home some work. But, you know, we have a typical day. You try to set up a routine or a schedule because it helps the students. It helps you with planning. But like I said, there's never a typical day. There's always assemblies and snow days and things that kind of throw a bump in the schedule. But it's just paper grading, planning, teaching, repeat.
Yeah, and be ready for whatever else is thrown at you that day, it sounds like.
Comes your way like, oh, okay, so I forgot about that assembly. Or, oh, we have New York State tests in a week, so we got to do some extra stuff to get ready for that. So it's, yeah.
Yes. So I'm wondering, what would you say you love most about your job?
Oh, definitely the excitement on the kids' faces when they finally get something that they've been really working hard at. 4th grade, for example, 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication in long division. They look at it and it looks like it's Greek to them on the board when I start doing it. And I'm like, believe me, you're going to be able to do this. And when they see that they can do that, or when a kid who like hates reading, they go, I hate reading, Mrs. Konas. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's going to change. And I come in and I find them a book and they connect with the book. That's kind of the best part about teaching. Really is just to see the kids grow and the excitement and to see them excited about learning. If I can sit back in my chair and they can just keep doing what they're doing and they're excited about it, that makes me really happy because it means I've done my job well. Like they can manage their own learning, their experience of their own learning.
No, I'm sure that part is really rewarding. I mean, this is a helping career, definitely.
Yeah.
What kind of skills would you say are needed for this job? If someone wants to be a teacher, and whether that's those soft skills or more trainable skills, what do you feel is important and that make a great teacher?
Well, I think you have to genuinely like children, whatever age group you're doing. And I don't mean like in that cutesy, oh, aren't they so cute? But I mean like respect them as people, like with ideas and thoughts. And like I said, that they can be the captain of their own learning, that they have their ideas and their motivations. That's really, really important, is that you treat people with respect, whether it's your students or your administration. So you have to have that skill to be able to speak to people in a respectful way all the time, even if you don't agree with them. Flexibility is huge, huge. You really do need to be a kind of a flexible person, because like I said, the day is never typical. You need to be organized. But I got to say, I wasn't completely organized when I started. That is something that you learn because you don't know what your organizational system is going to work for you. You have to be a good listener and willing to take advice and to share that advice with people. If somebody comes to you, it's like you said, it's a helping profession. So, I mean, you are in the job of helping people all day, whether it's your colleagues, your administrators, your students, and sometimes you just you go home and you're like, I don't want to help anybody anymore. Somebody help me. Somebody make dinner. But yeah, you have to have all of those skills.
I can relate. I hear you. No, that makes perfect sense. That can be overwhelming. And that brings me to the next question. And that's that every job has its challenges. And what are some challenges that you face in this job?
Time to get everything in that I want to get in. The push and pull of technology, push and pull of what we know is good for kids, push and pull versus the curriculum. Sometimes it's constantly trying to keep everything in balance. Like, kids need to be kids. They need to do with their hands, but yes, they also need to learn technology. The kids love technology. So those pushes and pulls, because there's not enough time in the day. Telling parents some things that maybe are a little harder to hear about their child. If their child is struggling, nobody wants to hear that their child is struggling. So you have to be a good communicator, but that's definitely difficult sometimes. And knowing that, maybe you're not going to reach that student the way you were hoping, like you're not going to make that connection with the student the way you were hoping. Those are my biggest challenges.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't give up.
No, it doesn't sound like it. That's great. And probably why you're such a great teacher. Yes. So I know kids, this question might sound silly because kids go to school and that's their environment, but if you could just kind of explain what your work environment is like.
So my work environment is my classroom, right? It's a self-contained classroom. Some people share classrooms, but this is a self-contained classroom. So I set up my classroom. You mean like the physical work environment?
Yeah, or even just the feel of, I think because I work at a school, I can say it kind of feels like a mini community, right? We're our own little community here, and you're not alone really in anything. There's always someone to go to or something happening. I feel like our work environment is pretty buzzing. I've got friends who work in offices that are quite quiet, and it's nothing like my work environment.
Oh my gosh, my work environment is not quiet. Some days, like, in fact, yesterday we came home and my husband and I, because he teaches science, so he's the same field of work. So we went into the living room and we just each had a cup of coffee and we're sitting there and we weren't talking to each other. And my son walked in, he goes, "Is everything okay? You guys are so quiet." And it's like, just need some quiet for like 15 minutes because it's always buzzing. But yeah, I have my team. So like, I have my own classroom, which is self-contained, but I'm not like this island. So like, you don't want to think that your first year teacher, you're out there by yourself. You have a whole team of people who are willing to help you. And I love my team. Thank goodness for my team, because like we help each other through, we pick each other up, somebody's got different strengths and talents and we all kind of play on those. Like, oh, you're really organizing. You organize that schedule for Immigration Day because like, I don't feel like doing that. Or I'm the crafty person, so I'll take care of Mother's Day crafts, or I'll do the Christmas crafts or the Hanukkah crafts or whatever crafts we're doing. So I'll take care of that. It's just, you have that team, you have your administrators that you work with and you meet. There's a lot of meetings, which are not my favorite things, but then we've got, curriculum work. We've got all these things that we have to kind of juggle and keep organized in our rooms. It
Yeah.
is a little bit of crazy.
I think it can be, and the work environment at school really is ever changing, and be ready for teamwork. And it can be loud and exciting because it's full of kids. Yeah.
It is. And
So
yeah.
another question I have for you is if someone were thinking about being a teacher, what would be the salary ranges for various levels in this field? And would you say that there are like opportunities for advancement or in their salary or position?
Well, typically actually, I can't say most schools because I've only been to Greenville, but in talking with other people, I think you get a schedule. So like your first year, there's a chart and they put you on that chart. And it's like a set scale and a set step. Like you move across the scale at a set rate. And the more classes you take and the more education you get, the quicker you move through the salary schedule. It's a schedule. There are opportunities to make a little bit of extra money, but it's pretty much salaried. The benefit is, you do get great sick time and benefits, and there's a pension in New York State. Not every state has that. If you go to different states, particularly in the South, I don't believe they have pensions. But so while you might not make as much money like during your career, it's like when you retire, you kind of have a guaranteed income beyond Social Security or what you can save yourself. And the health benefits are amazing. I mean, really, we do have very good health care, which is
Yeah, I
important.
think it's those things that kids don't necessarily think about when they think about how much money will I make. And sometimes it really truly is important to think about the future and the money that you will have to keep you safe and secure and your family covered. So I think that that's a really good point to bring up because we don't always think about that as middle school and high school students thinking about what kind of career we want. So thank you for making that point for our kids. My final question for you, and you went to school fairly locally to Ravenna Queens Selkirk, and I'm wondering if you can think back to those times. Were there any classes or activities that you took that you feel kind of lend themselves to your career now as a teacher?
Oh my gosh. Well, basically, when you teach elementary, you're a jack of all trades. You teach everything. So I would definitely, if you're interested in elementary teaching or any teaching, you want to take your academic course load. I was fortunate enough to be able to take honors classes, but we didn't have a lot of honors classes like they do now. Now they have a lot more honors classes. So I would say to challenge yourself academically as much as you can. And I was also involved in a lot of different things. I was in drama. I was in dance. I ran track. I did a bunch of different things because all of those interests, one, they help you to connect with your students if you have a lot of varied interests. And two, they just build that background knowledge, which you can all draw on to make your teaching come to life for the kids. So definitely. Yeah. Plus I wasn't allowed by my parents to take a lot of study halls that didn't fly with mom.
No. Well, and that's important. I think while you're here, a kind of a common theme I've heard as I've been conducting these interviews is make the most of what you have in front of you. And while you're in school, there really is a big opportunity to challenge yourself or to take courses in very specialized areas to really figure out what it is that you might want to do with your future. And why not do it now while it's free and right in front of you with the support of teachers like you to help guide you along. It's really a common theme I've heard, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ms. Konas, I just want to thank you for your time in conducting this career day interview. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Can I add one more thought?
Go for it.
Okay, so my daughter's studying to be a teacher. She's a science teacher with a degree, her master's in moderate special education with students with moderate disabilities. And she had to interview me, surprising, just like this. And one of the things I told her, I said, you're never going to go home at the end of the day wondering if your job mattered. And she said that got her through some of her student teaching stuff because like lessons are going to flop and things are going to go awful, awfully, awry. And I said, But at the end of the day, teaching is one of those jobs that it just really feels like you're making a difference. So I think that's something, if students want to do that, they need to investigate it.
What a perfect note to end on. Thank you.
Okay. All righty.